All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for My Hero Academia, Season 5, Episode 13.
Shinso, you did good.
You did good, buddy.
You did real good.
Great. Now that everyone has gotten their license and stuff, we're probably going to see what areas the conflict will escalate in. We've had a lot of stuff teased with regards to Endeavor, Hawks, the whole kind of Nomu situation. We've got basically everyone trained up a lot with regards to how to work as a team, but also how to handle a team of villains. So that's something that could be, got into as well. One of the other things that has been lightly touched upon is bringing back Eri into the fold of things. Just to remind
that was
us
really sweet
as viewers that, well, she exists.
Yeah.
And not only that, that her quirk is one of the most ridiculously strong things in this world, and as she heals both emotionally and mentally and physically, that quirk will be in the story.
I straight up would not be surprised if she was like the secret MacGuffin introduced, for like the end of the story.
And she's in the
to be
earlier
used
parts
in some
here
way
to be like
establish, let us like know her as a character and things like that.
I could really see a cool thing being done with her and Mirio. Because Mirio not having his quirk is like, it's a real hit to one of the best good boys we've had introduced in this story.
That's right.
Thus far. But we're also halfway now through Season 5.
That's true.
So, new arc.
Maybe new OP?
Yeah.
Possibly.
New OP. There's a lot of things that they can get into here that could be really exciting. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Okay, y'all.
Well,
Shigaraki just stole the whole goddamn episode with like 12 seconds of laughing.
And I gotta say,
that's a cool way to tease like what's coming next.
Super cool.
Yeah.
And I love it because Shigaraki as a villain, right, is a character that I've never really been truly like heebie-jeebies terrified of.
He's a child of promise in a dark way.
Exactly, exactly. And like that time when he put the hand on Deku's neck, like that was terrifying.
Yeah, his best moments were actually in the last season and in that season 2 finale.
Yeah, because it's showing him wrestling with things and growing and developing and things like that, and it's like, okay, awesome. I think he came to some realization or discovered some new side of his power or something, or just the confidence to use it and really use it, because goddamn.
So Shigaraki creates or is a survivor, if you will. He's the only person we see in this, and everything looks to be destroyed. And they say it was worse than Kamino. And to bring perspective into this, Kamino was when All for One blasted past All Might and nearly like wiped out a city. So here's a couple other things that could be going on here.
I thought that was the Nomu thing in season 2, but no, I think it's the All for One fight.
The Nomu thing was its own thing. But
that was a different.
I am very certain that it was the Kamino Ward specifically that was the one where he basically just just leveled everything. Now, to be fair, the Nomu one was also pretty terrifying. The difference, though, is that there was quite a quick response with regards to the heroes in that regard, because Endeavor was there, but also it was more of an incident in that regard because Stain was going around and killing and harming heroes at that point. But here, Shigaraki is solo. He doesn't have any of his crew with him.
This felt like a testing of his abilities.
Yeah, it felt in a way like it was him making a statement to himself, and yet from the political side of things, we know that it's actually something that is more for the purpose of destabilizing Hero Society. And we don't really know what the scope of it is, because apparently there's potential information that's being hidden from the public. And they showed a very choice little scene with no dialogue from them regarding Hawks and his handler of sorts in the hero side of things, where Hawks is being his whole secret agent kind of angle of things. So that's exciting, because we know that Hawks is connected, at the very least, to Dabi via the League of Villains, and he's probably trying to get closer to the League of Villains in general so that he can be,
do his thing.
Yeah, he can be their own spy, basically, within them there. However, the big, issue with that is just because they have, someone that's potentially in on that, doesn't mean that they actually have a firm grip on the man that is Shigaraki, because he is supposed to be basically the dark Deku kind of version in the story, where he's being groomed by All For One to eventually be his successor. So at some point, Shigaraki, if All For One has his way, will probably get All For One, and for all we know, he might have it here. Just a crazy thought.
At the very least, he has come into his own.
He's coming into his own,
and the Shigaraki that we will now be dealing with from here on out is, I can only imagine, is going to be fundamentally different than the person that we've dealt with before.
Yeah, we have seen a little bit of progression in that regard in Season 4. Yeah. And honestly, looking back, Shigaraki and Mirio and Sir, those are kind of the three big best things about that first part of Season 4. I don't really look back on Overhaul with a lot of positivity. But Shigaraki being this dreaded wild card in the midst of the whole thing and really making some smart moves means that this Shigaraki is that plus more. So that's also just exciting as well.
Right.
But that's kind of the tense build-up.
Right. That's the teasing, I feel like, for the rest of
the season. Yeah. Which is exciting.
Which is super exciting.
Because this first half of the season here was pretty average. It's been good in that we've gotten some really cool stuff from characters kind of smattered throughout it.
And a lot of cool stuff adaptation-wise of like animation and presentation and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's very much like that, okay, that last arc is going to be one of the more forgotten arcs, and then
it's definitely better than, Fortnite or, like some of the other slower ones in the beginning.
Yeah, I would say probably just Fortnite.
Probably, yeah. But having now the wholesome side of things, which is hey guys, we are going to be headed into some rough waters. So before that, let's have a nice little palate preparatory little episode of Christmas with fried chicken and Christmas cake, and Aries showing up with Uncle Aizawa. Yeah. And it's just, oh my gosh.
And Uraraka just being like...
I loved Uraraka's dive slide, where she like scoots across the floor. She's like, I can't even,
Like, the only way that this episode could have been better in my mind is if the whole episode after the Shigaraki bit at the beginning was just Christmas party stuff.
All Christmas stuff.
Because let's just say, while there were some good things that Mountain Lady did bring to the table that she mentioned, and it was even mentioned that she mentioned those things, and like, oh wow, she's growing a bit,
Yeah, you don't have to throw all the cringe
not literally
in there,
growing, but you don't necessarily need to throw all that stuff in there. Yeah. I kind of tune out fairly hard when that does happen.
Yeah, same. But I liked that they brought up Bakugo as the in the comedy side of things, the one that refuses to do an interview properly, because one of the things that is very, very just easy to get into whenever you have a superhero story, but it can get into some less easy, more nuanced, complicated side of things, is that if the heroes are the accepted way of doing things, a la, well, I don't know, Incredibles or Watchmen.
Sure.
Eventually you have to figure out who watches them, and the people that kind of dictate in a lot of ways via the kind of the government influence of the hero association or society or whatever. There's things where they can get in and be like, no, you're doing work studies now.
Right.
Why? Well, we want it.
Yeah. Now, normally, that might seem totally normal and fine and all of that stuff. And granted, they don't have their provisional, this isn't necessarily incumbent upon them having their provisional licenses, so that
they're being paired with pros.
They're being paired with pros, right?
Yeah.
But that being said, if it is kind of a thing of the, well, if some kids end up also helping us with doing adult work, and we're making it required that they then go out on the street and potentially fight villains and things like that. Granted, they're in the hero course, but like, that can get into some sketchy territory.
Well, it's not only sketchy territory, it's something where the actual reason for it is not entirely obvious to those that are in that little group of heroes that were there. They were like, wait.
It feels more like a bureaucratic like message.
Yeah, exactly. Which is like, is this the thing of where we're shorthanded? I thought we were saturated with heroes. Is this a thing of where it's a good PR move to see like, more heroes getting
these are the heroes of the future. Yeah.
Right. Well, why not do a safer version of that?
Well, or
why do it in this way?
Or why not be upfront that that's the reason for it?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, because what this almost feels like to me is it's the remember that we're in charge.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, but it also they literally said that there's hidden info that they're not privy to.
Yep.
That could be their real reason. And it's just, no, we can't share that with you because, there's only so many people we can trust right now. Because things might be great right now, but All Might's gone.
Yep.
All for One is in Tartarus, yeah. But there's probably people in the know that are aware that All for One is slightly there by choice.
Sure.
And he could be resisting a little bit more than he is right now. And that should make you all very nervous. Because then that means that he is kind of getting free time to just relax.
Yeah.
Because everything is going wonderfully well. Wait.
Oh
no.
I do really like a couple things that they brought up in the conversation with the adults in the room and stuff.
Yeah.
Where, one, they brought up the whole idea of the potential spy among the students again, which I appreciate because that was something that was established as a possibility in way back in season 1, right? And it's easy to forget about, right? Because it doesn't necessarily come up.
Yeah.
But if you want it to be something that influences the plot in any major ways, you want to make sure that the audience is reminded of it so that way it doesn't feel like why didn't the spy do anything else until now? It's no. The spy's out there and they're biding their time. Well, they might be out there.
They might be out there. We don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? It might. Maybe it's just an idea, a fear.
Right. And yeah, well, we have no way of knowing until later. But this is their reason that they gave, to learn to deal with the recent increase in villain organizations, which they said, well, that's obviously like code for what happened at Deka City. Right. Which I like that it's we don't want to give broadcast to this horrible tragedy that happened where they said there were like 20 protesters and like 50 people that... Like, I can bring up the thing again, but they said there was like 20 and 50. It was like 20 protesters, but then there was like 50 people that died or something like that.
Yeah, I think...
Yeah, I can bring that up as we're going into the discussion more. But yeah, it feels very like hush-hush about something else that's going on, which we kind of know has to be connected to Hawks in some way.
Sure, right, because we got that shot of his handler, yeah.
Right.
But it's interesting. Times are getting strange and crazy and tensions are rising, and I'm curious to see how that ends up sort of where it all falls. But the fact that we are seeing progress from even professional heroes as a result of Endeavor being the #1 hero and seeing what he brings to the table as that sort of shining star, right?
You must watch me, basically.
Right, watch me.
Yeah.
Oh, people were moved by that a bit. Maybe they want to carry some of that energy too.
So now everyone is like, got this watch me energy because of
All Might's gone.
Look Boy, who is the, sure, that's the trend right now. But that means then that everyone else has to shape up their game a little bit.
Right. It comes from the reason why he became so popular was because it was speaking out something that was not being properly addressed within society.
Sure.
And in my mind, it's the whole All Might is gone, so God is dead, therefore we must become as gods, right? So we need to take up this mantle because no one else will. And that's why people are being a lot more understanding of the heroes in general, and that's probably what Shigaraki's trying to attack, is that I don't want people to be on the side of the heroes. I want people to think that the heroes need to go and, get lost.
Yeah, or he's going to just push things to the logical conclusion that none of these people are gods.
Right. And I'm going to show everyone just how mortal they are.
How very mortal they are, yes.
Yeah.
And that can literally be his quirk, but it can also be just something as simple as, I'll just let society play itself out in a much more accelerated fashion.
Sure.
Because that's how people do be. So, won't take much really direct, hands-on of an approach, if you know what I'm saying.
Wow.
So, touching on, again, all the areas of things society-wise, it felt a lot better this episode than in the previous one, where in this one we kind of got a little bit into the mechanics of some of it. And I really do want to harp a little bit on the media side of things, because this is something that, from a mechanical standpoint for the heroes, they need this.
Yep, absolutely.
They need the media to be a thing that is helpful and is informative, and also is providing a good, clear, simple message.
Sure.
The awkward thing, though, is that when the media is primarily pushing, this specific narrative,
because that's what sells, that's what gets clicks.
Then you can end up in a situation where people like Bakugo, for instance, get completely ignored because, well, he's telling something that's a bit too awkward, a bit too uncomfortable, a bit too real, if you will.
What's funny is that if they were to actually, like, now I know this wouldn't be likely to happen because, one, the news station is a business all in and of itself and things like that, right? But if you had some interviewer that was a good interviewer, and they actually sat down with Bakugo on camera and really tried to play along with his energy, but bring that out of him and ask questions and stuff.
You might throw out the first hour of the interview.
But you could get to some stuff that would be pretty compelling for people to watch if you cleaned it up and edited it and things like that.
Yeah.
Because he does have strong convictions.
Yeah. However, I am totally against the idea, though, of using what you should still remember, kids, basically, as your PR stunts for the purpose of this hero society. Now, you could say, well, they're already pro-heroes, basically, because they have their licenses now. Like, they're not pros, literally, but they are functionally the same there. That also just brings up the awkward angle of, wait, so aren't they kind of child soldiers for justice?
Oh yeah. Well, it's I feel like there's some parallels to the whole child soldiers for justice thing, but then also news and media and stuff can get really sketchy when it deals with teens, because it's you're a rising star career, whatever, etc., right? There's going to come to the point where you'll fully be in the world of adults and things like that.
Right.
And as such, we want to help people get to know you and
we
stuff.
Want to support you, encourage you, and all that.
Right. Yep. But there will be that spin to it, right? There will be that spin, that leverage, that tint, that bias, that whatever, right? Yeah. And you're still dealing with kids, young adults, but
so I'm very much on board with Matt Lady doing this in a practiced role play manner, because that is exactly what you should do. But you shouldn't actually then put them out there in the way that Todoroki and Bakugo were necessarily, because then it leads to this awkward angle of where, wait, well, what was Bakugo saying? We don't know.
And that's probably what procked this like educational little seminar thing of like, let's actually go over how this works.
Because maybe that was something that looked bad just in general, because it was very obvious that Bakugo was just there but completely ignored because he was not helpful as an interviewee.
No.
So that's fair, Bakugo.
Yeah, who knows? The news station might have even contacted them and be like, can you please tell them how the interview thing works? Because that was awful.
Yeah, that was really bad. And it also looks bad for the
news station.
The news station.
Right, when it's like, oh, wait, yeah, we're just showing
this is your interview?
We're just showing Shoto because he's a Todoroki. See, that's, and it's like, no, there were other reasons why we only showed him, But
so there's that.
Yeah.
But having that be a thing then where Bakugo, again, in this episode, kind of forcibly decided to stand out even in the Christmas thing. And this is a weird deep cut to make with you guys who are saying like, Caleb, you sometimes go off into some weird tangents here, but run with me on this one here. Bakugo being the loud and brash and kind of misunderstood, or maybe a bit awkward, and maybe a bit also just unlikable as a hero.
Absolutely.
That's not necessarily a bad thing entirely. People are smart, and they're going to look at what Bakugo's saying and be like, look at this dumb kid, right?
Right.
Childish. Lord Explosion murder?
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
But, wow, he really wants to be a hero, though. Because I remember the point when people were like, is Bakugo going to become a villain? And they even brought it up in the world.
Yeah, with Shigaraki being like, join us, and Bakugo's like,
what the fuck? And it's just like, you guys.
Right. And to take that further, right?
Yeah.
That's why I love so much the fact that we had that bit of comedy with Mina constantly trying to put the Santa coat on Bakugo, right? And the hat and things like that, because it's something where when people initiate with Bakugo regularly, it doesn't go well. And that's not the fault of the people doing the initiating, right? Bakugo is making it really difficult for himself and for them, right? And really, that's something that he has to either learn to fix or work on or just deal with, right? Like that, there you go, right? But the fact that you had someone in his class that then comes along and is like, no, come on, like put on the coat. Put on the coat, right? It's that kind of it's that same kind of reason why the Kirishima Bakugo ship is so strong, right? Because it's the, hey, I don't mind your prickly side, right? That's okay, right? It's something where the exceptions and the almost you could even say, even though this word can have a negative connotation, but the deviant cases within society, right, are then able to be addressed on an individual basis based on their own needs. Eri is another example of that. Aizawa has to follow her around or she could cause some serious trouble. But if Aizawa was around, it's okay. You know?
And she's not going to need Aizawa forever.
Nope.
Her horn is growing, and that's something that shows her power's getting stronger, sure. But also, she's happy. She doesn't have Overhaul whispering his shit in her ear anymore.
Right.
She's in a good environment, in a good place. Now, that could change, of course, but still. Like, this is the difference of where you use the kids to kind of create that environment, and it feels really dirty with that media side of things. But you can also just provide a good environment, and the kids don't need that much coddling. They're in a couple of years, they will be out there with the adults, completely independent. Entirely so.
I want to tie three characters together here. One is Eri, right? The obvious example. The other is Bakugo. Eri got Aizawa, things are going a lot better. Bakugo, by the end of this episode, ended up putting on the Santa coat. We don't know the circumstances of that. We don't need to know. But in the end, he somehow was okay with it.
He likes working with people.
Exactly.
For some of the parts,
Then we have Shigaraki. Because
I love it, Jacob.
Because if Deku will ever become the greatest hero, it won't just because he's the strongest or anything like that. It will be because he saves the hearts of people that society would have absolutely ruled off the island and said they can never be saved, and in fact they should be dealt with for our own good and their own good, right? And at the beginning of this, we have Shigaraki leveling a few blocks of city and laughing hysterically.
Shigaraki is going to not only get stronger in his physical quirk-based capacity, but he's going to get stronger in his beliefs and ideologies about how much he needs to tear this whole thing down. And he's going to succeed, probably. Like, he's going to succeed in a lot of ways. He kind of needs to in order for this story to have, like, serious dramatic stakes.
In order for him to truly turn away from that, he needs to drink deeply of it.
Exactly. And then get so drunk on it. And
that he then realizes, maybe this isn't what I want.
What happens?
Maybe there's an alternative.
The ashes?
Right.
Like, you could be.
Yeah.
You could probably make some great ashes, you know.
Oh, yeah. A lot of it.
But I'm excited. I want more Shigaraki focus in general. And since the previous arc was more about training and stuff, and if this one is more about work studies can also just be code for we're going to get our soldiers into combat, basically. And since the kids are basically being treated slightly like child soldiers... But
it makes me so happy that then they're like, all right, let's go to the closest hero to a soldier in Hero Society, probably in Endeavor. Let's go to his work study. I am so excited to see Bakugo, Shoto, and Deku all in the same place. Under Endeavor. Because
that's gonna
Endeavor
be good.
As a character, because he's so extreme, he brings a lot out of the people around him. Right? And that's been shown even in just the Hero Society with the other pros. Both regards to our main characters, and these three main characters that we haven't really... Bakugo and Deku, they've interacted a lot, but like Bakugo and Todoroki, not quite as much in like a deep character sense.
Actually, it was them training for their
basically
original license back in, season 3? Season 4.
No, that would have been the
3, but
And then Deku and Todoroki, much less, but also Deku and Endeavor. Like, I remember how Deku responded when Endeavor would show up,
In
season two, and it was like, oh man, chills, right? Like that was electric.
Yeah, I want to see how all 4 of them get on. And then, of course, when at some point Hawks gets brought into that whole group.
Or Dobby.
Well, either way, just having a group of 5 heroes that are all so vastly different like that, all in the same environment. Who leads a conversation in a group like that?
Right. Like,
I just can only I can only imagine. But yeah, that's it. Christmas was wonderful. It was adorable.
Yes.
Lots of little funny moments in there. The Keyblade sword thing that Eri ended up getting, and just the panic from that.
And the little bit of just having Sero use his tape for a gift exchange. It's like, I know it's such a small detail, but it's
little uses of the quirks.
It's things like that absolutely. Yeah. That absolutely, would happen in this world where this is a part of everyday life.
This is normal, yeah. It was fun. Also, Ida as Santa, but also with the conductor. Yeah, that was incredible. But yeah, lots of good fun stuff here. Lots of little sweet moments. Loved the fact that All Might was doing a little bit of research for Deku to try and see what he could figure out in this regard. I've talked a lot about how All Might's kind of my favorite character in the story, but I'm really glad that they didn't kill All Might.
Yes.
I'm really glad that All Might is still around. Of all the characters that could have been the very dramatic death, I'm really glad it wasn't All Might, and that we're here, and now he's still a part of this whole thing with Deku's journey, but he's now switched to the I'm going to help lift you up.
Right, I am the supporter.
Yeah. So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the full-length timer version of the reaction, go check out the link in the description below. For our Patreon, you can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there. You can watch full any level of access gets you access to our Discord, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.